What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I am RL Melpica, the Eat Coach, Natural Health and Diet Specialist. And today we are going to talk about B12. Look, if you've been transitioning to a healthier diet, maybe you just became vegetarian, maybe you're thinking about becoming a vegetarian, maybe you're thinking about taking it a step further and becoming vegan, or maybe even raw vegan. Regardless, I am sure you have been attacked from every possible avenue, whether that be friends, family, colleagues, peers, the media, articles, different videos, just everywhere you can think of attacking you, telling you that you are going to have a B12 deficiency if you take that route. Well, I'm here to tell you that we're going to dive into all of that so you can make some conscious decisions on what you're going to do with your health. But first and foremost, make sure you hit that subscribe button in your lower right-hand corner so you can get notifications of all my videos about natural health and diet. So look, let's talk about B12. Be interactive. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, make sure you drop comments to let me know and we can address it, because I feel like this is a conversation that we're going to have continuously, just because it is such a huge talking point when it comes to, going on a plant-based diet, right? Like I said, we've all heard it, right? And I think the first thing that comes to mind is, what is B12, right? We hear all these vitamins and minerals, but we don't really understand what they are. Well, B12 is a little bit different than our other vitamins. Number one, it has, minerals, a mineral within it. And it's also like B12 is the waste product of bacteria that's found in certain foods, right? Plant foods and meat foods. And the reason you get it in meat is because, we eat vegetarian, or I shouldn't say we, people that eat meat eat vegetarian animals, and vegetarian animals are getting it from the plants, which are getting it from the soil, and are ultimately, within their intestines, and humans as well. Like, because we are naturally vegetarian animals, when we eat, you know, uh, lettuce and greens and whatnot, we have it as well. And we also create it. We produce our own B12 in our intestines and mucosa, right? So that's two different ways to obtain B12. Number one is through plants and foods. And the second way is through produced by your system itself. Okay. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't know that our body produces its own B12. Right now, the kicker is that when it comes to B12 deficiencies, it has nothing to do with the fact that plant-based people don't eat meat, because people who eat meat also have B12 deficiencies. And that comes from something called the intrinsic factor. All right. The intrinsic factor is the inability to absorb B12, right? The inability to absorb it. So it doesn't matter how much you eat of it. It doesn't matter how much you supplement for it, which we'll get to in a bit, right? If your body cannot absorb it, it doesn't matter. And when you're getting it from outside sources like supplements, it's not being absorbed. All right. And what stops individuals from being able to absorb, um, not being able to absorb B12 and the quote unquote intrinsic factor? Well, you have to look at it. So B12 itself is a bacteria. It is going to feed off of carbohydrates. That is its fuel. What stops it from being able to do that and being able to be absorbed is fat, right? When you're consuming more fat, that stops the body from being able to absorb the B12. So that is straight from Dr. Douglas Graham in his 80-10-10 diet book. He talks explicitly about B12 and how the intrinsic factor is actually damaged per se. Why people are not able to absorb B12. So he goes a little bit deeper into that. So when you think of B12 deficiency and people having B12 deficiencies, it's not because they're not supplementing. It's not because they're not eating enough meat. The truth is is that they have a deficiency within them, the intrinsic factor that they are unable to absorb it. And like I said, the reasons is because of diets. And it's not just fat. I mean, you have to look at, I want to say it's Herbert Shelton who talked about this. No, I'm sorry, not Herbert Shelton, T.C. Fry, which is a mentor of Dr. Douglas Graham. But when he talks about it, he talks about the putrefactive bacteria that's in cooked animal products that stops the body from being able to absorb B12. So if you see, like, for instance, most, I shouldn't say most, but a really high majority, so I guess that would be most, of plant-based individuals are coming off of a meat-eating diet. So think of all the years that you've been eating meat and you've been eating all that excess fat and all of that cooked protein and that putrefactive bacteria that can destroy the B12 in your system and also, like I said, stop you from being able to absorb. So, all my plant-based people out there, everybody who is actually looking to transition or who has currently been, eating more raw, whole foods, like, the fear mongering is tremendous. I get it, but do not worry about that. The main thing is you want to eat as much as, the leafy greens are important. You know what I'm saying? I've said that, since the beginning. Like, yes, fruit-based fruits are extremely electric. You're probably going to eat more fruits as far as individually in quantity, but as far as from a food perspective, as far as, like, you need to be about 50-50 of your leafy greens as well as your fruits. That's extremely, extremely important. And there's just been so much research that is just been, I don't want to say shadow banned, but it's been diluted and just been hidden from the masses when it comes to B12 in these studies. I mean, there's been studies on natural hygienic mothers breastfeeding children and, throughout their childhood, and them not having any type of B12 deficiency, vegetarians, just a bunch of different studies that you never see. They never hit the limelight because they don't fall into the agenda and they don't fall into the narrative. So, and a big piece of that is the supplement industry, right? Like, B12 wasn't even discovered as a thing until the 1950s. You feel what I'm saying here? And look, we're talking about the natural diet. We have naturally been either vegetarian or 100% whole fruit, frugivore based for the entirety of human existence. Like, they've been around for that long, and that is the natural diet, right? What we were built to eat. So think about how long that is, however long you think this world has existed, right? So, like, to think that this has only been discovered as a thing since 1950 should let you know everything you need to know about where it's coming from and how it actually affects you and how it is a part of your body. And when you think about it, like, if you look at the daily amount, this is what is recommended, the recommended daily amount of 1 microgram a day, which is excessively high, just like every other recommendation that is made pretty much by, whoever, FDA or whoever creates it, right? So you already know that is excessively high. Well, if you ate organic plants every day, right? Leafy greens, you're going to easily meet that. Okay. You're easily going to meet that. But the point is, you don't even need that much. And not to mention that it stays in your system anywhere from almost up to 7 years, 7 or 8 years, something like that. So, like, the amount that you need is so minuscule, mostly because your body creates it itself. So, you can get some from your food. Your body is going to create it itself. But the kicker is the absorption. If you're not able to absorb it, it just doesn't matter. And look, like I've said before, like, when it comes to health, it's not always about adding. It's about eliminating. So eliminating those things that are blocking health from actually happening. And that's in B12, that's the same case. How do I remove the issues that are stopping me from being able to absorb this nutrient? And that's pretty much where you're at. So don't be fearful of it. Don't allow the masses and whatnot to cloud your thinking. If when you're making your conscious choices, go within, right? Think about it. Does it really make sense? Does something that was quote unquote discovered in the 1950s really align with nature? Remember, nature gives you the answer to everything you need. So, and then when it comes to supplements, and this is my last piece I say about B12, when it comes to supplements, you just look, I don't want to say common sense because that sounds like, I'm entitled or anything like that, or what is common and what is not. But when you're thinking in this mindset, when this all aligns, right? We're talking about the natural diet. We're talking about nature, right? And we look at nature, and nature is a mirror. It lets us know everything we need to know about ourselves. Where do supplements fall into that? Supplements, like we don't supplement our way to health, right? If we're deficient in something, or if we're not producing enough something, we don't need to take something else to help produce us. We need to get rid of the barriers or get rid of the hurdles that are stopping our body from doing what it does. So that doesn't align with supplements. And when you think about supplements, if it's a B12 supplement, what is it? It's an isolate. It is something that has been isolated and has been mass produced in a lab and then shipped to you in a bottle that you're going to take on the daily, and probably going to give you excessive amounts of what you need, and your body probably can't even absorb it. You feel what I'm saying? So if you're thinking about health, if you're thinking about nature, does that make sense? Consciously, does that make sense? Intuitively, does that make sense? The choice is yours, right? We talk about the conscious choice, and we're having a discussion here, right? And I'm just sharing my thoughts, my philosophies. I've been vegetarian for about 7.5 years. I have been majority raw for the past almost 3 years. I'm about 90% raw, 90% raw right now. Whole foods, fruits, leafy greens, a little bit of nuts, a little bit of seeds. And I have never, not one time, taken a supplement to supplement my B12 or anything else. I don't take any protein powder. I don't, do any of those things. And, there's no deficiencies, there's no issues, there's nothing going on here. Just eliminating all of the hurdles to stop my body from getting to homeostasis. That is the key, right? And cooked food is one of those things I'm still working with. So look, nobody's perfect. It's all about grace. It's all about understanding the concepts of that. But at the end of the day, I'll finish it with this. Like, look, B12 is something that it's not going to go away. It's something that's going to be there. There's an agenda behind it, right? And look, if you feel comfortable supplementing on B12 just because, like, well, let me cover my bases, I understand that way of thinking. Just understand that not, you're trying to plug one hole and you're opening up another, right? Because your body looks at that as supplements as foreign chemistry. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah. So foreign chemistry, and your body is going to do everything it can to get rid of that, because foreign chemistry is ultimately going to cause more issues and imbalance within the body. So anyways, like I said, conscious choice is yours. So look, at the end of the day, B12, your body produces enough of it. And the amounts we get, the trace amounts we get from our plant-based foods provide us enough of it. Our body stores it. The kicker is the intrinsic factor. Is your body able to absorb it? Okay. Now you can go to the doctor and, or, get a blood test. You can find out if your body is able to absorb it pretty easily. If that's something you're concerned with, go ahead and do that as well. But to start absorbing it, you need to eliminate the other things I talked about, the fat and the animal proteins. So hope this resonated with a lot of you. If you have a lot of questions, concerns, anything like that, like I said, put it in the comments section. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if this resonates with you. And I'll be back next time to talk some more natural health and diet. Oh, make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. Y'all be good. Peace, love, and light.